Right, 3, 2. Okay, with pleasure now. Right now, I'm joined by Brent from Braidwood. Yes, he's a musician and he's here with me on my show today. How are we doing, Brent?
I am fabulous. The weather's great where I am, sunny with a nice little bit of breeze, and we're sitting on the deck here by my cottage looking out at the ocean.
Happy days. Nice to hear. And I know where you're based, but where are you based right now from the benefit of my listeners?
My home base is in Vancouver, British Columbia. Beautiful British Columbia. But I do have a vacation cottage on the East Coast, on Nova Scotia, and that's where I am at the moment. I'll be here for approximately another 2 weeks or so, and then I head back home because I'm actually working on another album, which I have to finish off, and it's only a few tracks left to go. And that'll be then sent off to the mixers and then the mastering, and then it'll be printed in CD. And yes, I still do believe in hard product, so that's where I am at the moment.
Yeah, beautiful. You can't beat physical. And as my listeners watching this, they can see a background. I think this is Vancouver, where I'm trying to be at the moment. So that's fantastic. Maple Ridge as well. It's very pleasing to the eye.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, Maple Ridge. Are you not too far from there, Vancouver?
Yeah, Maple Ridge is maybe about 35, 40 minutes outside of Vancouver, but it's a lot easier just to say Vancouver. Most people know where that is.
No worries. And you're promoting a new album out. Is it called?
I will.
Yeah.
I will be shortly. Yes, I'm just in there will be 11 songs on the new album / CD. They're all brand new. I've got some fairly heavy hitters playing on my tracks this time. However, I'll wait until the album's actually released before I announce who those people were. I was quite surprised that they would even agree to play because they're big boys in the game kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to that. And as soon as it's done, I'll start releasing the songs one by one to Catherine at CJC Promotions and see how it goes.
Brilliant. So you've got a few arsenals up your sleeve, as they say.
I should hope so.
Yeah, cool. All songs written and recorded, produced by yourself, or did you work with other people on this marvelous new project?
Well, the one thing that I can't record, I record everything at my place, my house. I've got it all set up for that. The only thing that I can't record are drums. I'm not set up for that. So I had to have those recorded at another studio, but it's also the same fellow who does the mixing for me. So that's where one of these other significant players came in because they're all friends. And so I said, okay, well, if he's up for it, then let's go. So that's the only one that I haven't recorded at my place. Everything else I record at home.
That's ace. And do you have a album title for this new LP CD, or are you allowed to say just yet?
I would rather not say
That's fine.
yet, but yes, the album title is already in place. In fact, all the artwork is already in place. I've been working with the guy since my first album. He's an excellent graphic artist, but all that's in place. I just have to wait until I finish off these last few tracks. But I'll hold off on the album title until it's actually released.
In good time, then. I was going to ask you, will there be any music videos to accompany the single releases on YouTube?
Well, I certainly hope so. I'm working on that idea. I need to find a way where I can do something that's reasonably entertaining and of a reasonable quality, but to farm it out is not cheap. I do have one video and one video only from a previous album, and that's called Down Along the Road. And you can find that on YouTube easily enough. Just type in Down Along the Road, Braidwood, and boom, it'll pop up. So I'm hoping to do more of those. And but like I say, I need to see if I can take more of that work on by myself than farming it out.
Yeah, I guess it's more about the music, really, the recording, that you concentrate first and then the rest takes care of itself.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes, for sure.
And I wanted to ask you about a song called Call You at Midnight. That's an interesting song title. How long ago was that released?
It was released, that would have been about, 8 years ago, I think it was on that album. But that's a fairly old song. Given, I grew up in an era where you had these, what you call novelty songs. And they were never meant to be serious. They just meant to be fun. And those chords just came to me in that particular pattern. I thought, oh, okay, well, and I worked on it, and then it came out as that kind of, ragtimey kind of sound that it has to it from a very bygone era. But yeah, it'd be at least 8 years or so when it was released. But I thought it was a light, humorous little song to release now for CJ to promote.
Moving on to my next question.
Sure.
One of your singles called What It Is. That's quite a popular song, that is. What's that song briefly about, please?
Well, it's basically just kind of accepting things that you can't change. That's really what it was about. And again, the chord pattern came to me, and the rhythm pattern came to me in such a way that it reminded me very much of something, say, George Harrison would do. And so I did the production around that kind of style. See, I grew up in an era. I grew up in Edmonton in my teenage years, and in those days there was not specialized stations for just rock, just country, just rap, or whatever. The radio stations were playing a bit of everything. So you could hear Dean Martin, you could hear Tammy Wynette singing "Stand by Your Man." You'd certainly hear the Beatles or the Rolling Stones, and you'd hear those novelty records like. Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini and all that kind of stuff, right? So it's very much like a jukebox. And the very first album I actually owned, I could call my own, was the Beatles' White Album. And if you're familiar with that, that is an absolute cornucopia of musical styles. So in conjunction with that album, and in conjunction with the musical environment that I grew up in Edmonton, which was very much jukeboxy at the time, that's where my sensibilities lie. I don't have one distinct style. I suppose you could fit it into the classic rock category as far as genres are concerned, but stylistically, I'm all over the map.
That's amazing. I wanted to just add about jukebox's music variety. You just can't beat it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
And I know the White Album as well, opening track on that, 8 Days a Week. Michelle's on there as well, amongst other classics. There's probably one on there everyone will know or familiar with, the White Album.
Of the White Album, back in the USSR, Dear Prudence, Blackbird, all those songs. Yeah. I mean, they're all over the maps. Harrison's Piggies, which has that harpsichord thing. It sounds like something out of the something Mozart would play, or something out of the Baroque period. But you've also got that Revolution Number 9, if you know what that is, yeah. Right? It's a musique concrete. It's basically, it sounds like a collection of noise, but that's the one that starts off number 9, number 9, number 9, right? So you've got all that, and then oddly enough, the song that finishes off that album is Good Night, which Ringo sings, but oddly enough, John wrote. So John wrote both that Revolution Number 9 and Good Night, and they follow one another, back to back. It's a really a great collection of songs all over the place, really.
And one of your songs as well tried to capture the essence of a Beatles track. You started off the production sounding very 60s, and then you're going into the modern sound production. I'm not sure what song it was. It could have been What It Is, but it's on YouTube. And it's kind of like your interpretation of what a Beatles song is.
Well, I mean, I don't certainly hide it. My Beatles are definitely my influence. I actually am old enough, yikes, to have seen them on Ed Sullivan. Our normal routine on a Sunday night was to have our once-a-week bath. We washed our hands and face every night, but our once-a-week bath was on Sunday, so we'd be nice and clean for school on Monday. Isn't that a quaint idea? Anyway, so we only had 5 stations at the time. And Sunday night, our normal routine after our bath and got into our pajamas was to watch Ed Sullivan and Bonanza. That's what we did. But I remember it as clear as day. I was standing next to my mother, and my grandmother was standing in front of us talking. And she said, "Make sure the kids watch Ed Sullivan tonight." And I thought, well, that's what we normally do. So I asked her, I said, well, why should we watch Ed Sullivan particularly tonight, Grandma? And she said, because the Beatles are on. And I said, what are the Beatles? I had no idea, but my grandmother did. And that changed everything.
Have you ever been to Liverpool before? in the UK?
Never.
Oh,
I'm,
wow.
I'm quite honestly, I'm not much of a traveler. I've never been out of North America. The furthest I've been down into the States is Los Angeles when we went down to Disneyland one time. And the furthest east I've been, of course, is Nova Scotia, but I've never been out of the continent.
Mm.
I'm not much of a traveler. If I had to travel anywhere, or if I, was so inclined, it would certainly be England. I'd want to see London Shield. I'd want to see what's going on in Liverpool and check out where my family is originally from, a generation or several ago. And we were from Toll Cross, just outside of Glasgow.
Oh, okay, brilliant.
Anyone who spells their name the way I spell my name, we're all related somehow, some way or another. I think originally it was my grandfather, great grandfather, I guess, that came over with 6 brothers, and they spread out across North America.
Yeah.
But that's the only place I have actually any desire to see if I were to travel at all.
And Braidwood, is that your surname or is that your just stage name?
No, that is my surname. In fact, I'm related to Scotland's first fireman. It was either James or Thomas. I'm related to that guy.
And are you up? I know you're up and running now, but are you an independent artist, self-release? Everything's done off your own back.
Yes, I'm not signed. I'm not the only person I have any connection to with my music outside of the musicians that play with me is Catherine with CJC Promotions. But no, I'm not a signed artist.
Yeah. And where do you get your inspiration from writing your music? Could it be a simple thing as, like, say, the backdrop behind me?
It could very well be. There's no one set pattern. More often than not, I find a chord pattern that I like, just the way it goes, and often it'll suggest a melody to me. However, there are songs that have come full blown to me with nothing but the melody or the words, and then I have to sit down and figure out what the chords are. Even in some cases, I've written songs sort of back to front where I've come up with the chorus first, and then I have to figure out, okay, how are the verses going to work chord wise and all that kind of stuff to get me to this chorus. But more often than not, it's the chords first, the rhythm and the general melody, if not necessarily the words that come first.
And how's the sensation like when you get airplay and support from your local community when they hear your music being played back on local radio stations?
I have mixed feelings. When my friends say, "Oh, that's great, that's excellent," like that, to be perfectly honest, I'm distrustful of it. And the reason why is because they're friends. They're supposed to tell me it's great, if you know what I mean. So when a complete stranger comments on it, or it's seen the chart action that the songs that I've released through CJC Promotions have seen, quite honestly, I'm stunned. Because these people who are listening to it, your listeners, whoever listeners, and say, "Oh yeah, play that, I'd like to hear that song again," they owe me nothing. They don't know me. And so I put much more stock in a stranger saying, nice things about the song than I do either friends or relatives, because like I say, in some sense, they kind of have to tell me that, if you know what I mean.
That's understandable. And in this day of age of social media, what's the best kind of platform you prefer where people can find out a little bit more about you, maybe get in touch and so on, like newsletters, emailing lists?
I am on Facebook, and I do have a website, and all my albums and all the songs are on there. And that is Braidwood Songs. It's all one word, braidwoodsongs.com. And you can find everything else on there about me. But I'm also on Facebook. I don't have Twitter. I don't have all that other kind of stuff. Facebook is the main way. And there is a contact page on the website that if you want to get in touch with me, you certainly can.
Well, I think that's everything I wanted to ask for today's interview. Thank you very much for your contribution to the show. We'll look at one of your tracks we can play on my show and preview one of your music tracks for my listeners now.
All right, that sounds good. What do you have in mind?
Yeah, do you have a recent release? Your most recent release? What would that be?
Well, that would be The Call You at Midnight. Have you already played that?
No, I haven't, I don't think so. We can go with that one.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll give your listeners a heads up warning that It's not meant to be taken seriously. It is a fun song. I hope you enjoy it in that sense, because that was the intention of it. And it's just a fun little song to listen to, and very much in that old timey kind of big band jazz era kind of style. So I hope your listeners
Yeah.
like it.
Brilliant. Let's get it on there. Thanks very much for your contribution today, Braidwood, known as Brent on today's interview. It's been lovely
There
speaking
we
with
go.
you.
There we go. And thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate that. And hi to all your listeners.
That's fine. And yeah, good luck with your new project coming soon. All right.
Thank you very much.
Best wishes.
You too. Talk